The following show features episodic breakdowns of Jackass, either performed by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. For your safety, avoid listening to this podcast at all times. Hi, I'm Mikey Aaronworth.
I'm Jason Wellwood.
And I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Welcome to Jackass.
Welcome to Jackass. It's the podcast where we're on a path of destruction through every single episode of Jackass.
We are three lifelong fans of the show, reliving the belly laughs, bad ideas, and broken bones.
Coming right back at you, folks, with part 2 of Jackass Forever. And it was quite a nice part 1, didn't you think?
I did think. I gotta say, I think my favorite part of the week is when we record this podcast, not the whole process of recording, because you guys drive me nuts, but in the very beginning, when we first start out, is looking at Chris to see what his reaction is going to be when Jay's reading off the intro is my favorite thing. It's just the greatest.
There's a lot of panic in my mind going on. And I have no idea until the absolute second it comes out of my mouth. I was thinking about going robot again today, but I was like, you know what? I just rewatched that episode. I'm like, you know what? I don't want the shit today, you know? So
fair.
I was like, you know, I think this was pretty natural.
I think it's also the finger guns that you do, and you like do a little bit of a thing and then you lean into it a little bit more.
You noticed the finger guns today, eh? That was my first time.
Well, I know. I like it, Chris. I think you're leaning into the intro energy, and it's working for me.
I'm glad to be back,
coffee,
guys.
Mikey, that's nice.
Yes, I'm so glad to see you both again, and glad we're doing this shit again. I'm Jackass Part 2. Man, it's going to be great. This movie has been
Jackass Forever Part 2. We should clarify, because last week, hey, if you're tuning into this podcast for the first time, we're going through in sequence Jackass Forever the movie. It's going to be a stunt by stunt breakdown, but we're breaking it up into 4 or more parts depending on how much we can get through. We barely made it through 4 stunts in the last one. I know we did Jackass 1 and 2 in 4 episodes each. But man, we're just having too much fun. There's too much nostalgia attached to this movie that I think it's hard to talk about it without talking about everything it means to us as well.
And you know what? It's good to get here before we lose listeners, because Mikey makes terrible jokes.
What?
Except for the yellow cab joke. That was top notch.
Great.
I got so much comments on that. I totally forgot about it. I was watching the reels that Mikey put together. It just blew my mind. But I do want to say, it is official. Jackass 4.5 is coming out soon. Yeah, baby. So I think we're rolling, hopefully if the timing aligns, we're rolling right from this into 4.5. So we got some fresh content coming, stuff that no one's seen or has just seen hopefully at the time. And yeah.
Well, guys, not just Jackass 4.5, but we got the Jackass TV series as well that we're going to have to talk about when that comes out. You heard about that, Chris, right?
No, I didn't.
You didn't hear about this?
No, they didn't get me that news in the jungle, man.
No, I didn't even fucking hear this either, man. I've been out of the loop, so please.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
no, they've greenlit a new Jackass TV series. When it comes out, who knows? But it's very clear that the old crew are going to be involved, but that it's probably going to be more of a passing of the torch continuation, just like what we saw in Jackass Forever.
I kind of felt like that was coming, so.
Oh, yeah. Can't get rid of us.
It's not really for me. Take it or leave it. We fucking predicted that, by the way. Go back and listen to the...
We did?
I don't even know what episode that was, but we talked about that. Hey, guess what? When we left you last time in part 1, it was Silence of the Lambs. Mm-hmm. And how fitting that as we launch back into our second revisit of Jackass Forever, that we're getting lubed up for the slip and slide. Get the lotion on the skin, boys. Get the
lotion on the skid. Nothing beats a good slip and slide. Are you kidding me? You know what?
That's like my favorite genre of
best
porn.
Summertime activity. and favorite genre of porn, yes.
Describe what a slip and slide porn is. You mean just oiled up?
Oiled up, man. Oiled asses. You know, I love like the reverse body slide.
The reverse body slide?
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't know what it was either until I was at a rub and tug one day, and she's like, "You want the reverse body slide?" I'm like, "I don't know what that is, but fucking sign me up."
All right. I kind of pictured when you said like a porn genre, you got probably the female, but I guess you could go male to male. I'm not discriminating. Sitting at the end of the slip and slide, spread eagle, and then you got the other guy goes in on his knees and does the slip and slide, you know?
Or you go at the top. Or you go at the top and you just lock in, so you know you're not fucking getting bounced off each other. You know what I mean?
Which is a strategy we see right here in this sketch. The lock-in. We get that.
The lock-in.
Let's talk about it. Listen, guys, this is an exciting first moment for these new guys, because this is where you get a moment that stood out to me when I saw it in the theaters, where you get Zach and Jasper, and they're so excited that they're about to do a Jackass stunt that they ask politely, "Can I say my name first?"
Yes.
And they do the whole, "Hi, I'm Zach, I'm Jasper, and this is body surfing." So I just thought that was cute. I like that.
It was cute, but it was weird because they almost like didn't want Jasper to say it. They almost said no at one point. And he's like, "Fuck it, I'm going to say it anyway." And I'm like, thankfully he did. Like you need it. You need him to be saying that.
Well,
but
it's quite the exact opposite of how Poopies handled it. He's like, they just look at him. They're like, the camera's on him. He's like, "I'm Poopies, big time movie star," and they all just burst out into laughter. I'm like, fucking Poopies, like literally was born to be a Jackass member. Like he fits in instantaneously. There's no transition period. He just flows with the whole scene. Like,
yeah, I totally agree.
We've only been ripped off that he just got part of it now, because if he was part of it during the heyday, imagine the things that we would have seen.
Look, we just announced that there's going to be, we just talked about the fact that there's going to be a new Jackass TV series. We're going to end up seeing this much more from him, right? Like there's no way around it. And we just know that. And if this movie did anything for us, it shows us kind of who's going to be next in line. And we've talked about it 1,000 times over. Poopies is the new Johnny Knoxville, if there is such a thing.
Oh, I did some detective work, or I noticed something. I'm actually pretty smart sometimes. So, did you notice what SteveO was wearing in this sketch? You'll notice bandana? It a few times. Yeah, exactly. So he had the glasses and the bandana on. Yeah. So when listening to his podcast, I put a few pieces together over here. So something that I guess we're going to probably see in 4.5 is he had to get his eyebrows shaved again. And he was really right? I remember him talking about it, and he was really self-conscious about it, especially this time. He was talking about how bitter he was about it, how much he hated it. So you'll notice it's always, whenever he has the bandana and the glasses, it's always covering his brow. So I have a feeling that in this, and there's probably 3 or 4 other sketches that we go through in the movie where he's very clearly covering his eyebrows. So I have a feeling that's because of the old shaving of the brows, and he did not want to be on the big screen like that. Maybe he's getting a little vain in his old age.
Because I noticed you absolutely can see that he's got shaved eyebrows. I know another one of the stunts is when he lights the underwater fart later on in the movie. And you can see like he's got no eyebrows there, but we don't get to see what caused that in this movie. So I guess, hopefully, fingers crossed, holding out for Jackass 4.5, we get to see what happens.
It would be nice.
Anyways, enough with the backstories, Jay. Break it down, baby.
Okay, break it down. Listen, I realize once you get going on this slip and slide, which is like, I don't even know. I don't know measurements. I'm like about at Chris's math level, which is probably about a grade 2 or 3, right, Chris?
No, math's the only thing I'm smart at.
Okay.
Talking and English, book learning and all that jazz, not so much. Math, I'm pretty good.
I set out to insult you, and I only ended up insulting myself. So there we go. My math isn't the greatest thing right now. Listen, it's a mile long. Can we just call it a mile long, even though it's not even close? Is it?
Yeah, it's a mile long.
Okay, perfect. So it's a mile long
body slide,
and it's on an incline too. This isn't just a flat plane. They ain't doing this out in the prairies of Saskatchewan. Let me tell you, this is some downhill slip and slide. They've got all the lube on this thing that you could ask for. And I realize once you get going, you can't really do shit about it. Like even once you just start sliding a few feet down the slide, you're fucked. Like nothing's stopping you.
That's so
and I just
true.
love watching the sense of panic. Yeah, once they go over that lip, there's just a sense of panic in every guy that like, it's like joy and panic just combined as you watch them take this thing on. I do love that it doesn't take long for them to do the Jackass tradition of bringing out the props and different methods of going down. We've got the surfboard with Poopies. We do get the lock-in that we talked about earlier, where you got one guy on top of the other. But I think my favorite is the horse race, where you got a guy in the ass of the horse and a guy in the front. Full-on horse
and
costume.
Eric Manaka, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That looked like fun. What was your guys' favorite special feature here?
So this is actually kind of interesting to me. I don't know. I know that's kind of the instinct is like, hey, look, they dressed up as a horse and they dressed up or they went down on a surfboard and all that stuff. But I don't know that was my favorite part of this. I kind of like the simple, like things that kind of go on by happenstance. Like the best part of this stunt was when Jasper accidentally slides down the hill and can't stop himself. And like the look of resignation in his face when he realizes he's like past the event horizon of that slope and just keeps on going down and down and down was amazing. But here's a worry that I have. And I guess I'll put this to you guys, but like this is more of a question about the new members of Jackass. And I'll look specifically to Eric Manaka in the front of the horse and Poopies in the back for the back of the horse, which again, I'll say Poopies in the back is something that we should say way more often on this podcast. when they kind of link up on the horse and they start to go down, they immediately separate as though they're kind of like worried about what's going to happen when they land. I feel like the old crew of Jackass would have leaned into it in spite of the fact that they were going to get hurt. Like they knew how to sell a fall, and maybe it's just going to take time. But did you guys get that sense that they were kind of pulling away from the stunts a little bit at times?
Yeah, I did a little bit, but I also don't want to take away credit from like Jackass, for example, who definitely doesn't pull away from stunts. Mm-hmm. But I guess it just all depends on what's going on. And, maybe, we are dealing with some older fellas. I think even the Jackass members themselves were pulling away a little bit come this movie, to be completely honest.
Maybe, but they like, if anyone could, it's the older crew, right? Like these are the younger guys who need to be proving itself. I think, and we talked about this, Eric Manaka gets introduced in this movie. But I think with one exception, which is the stunt, the interstitial where he's biking into the painted thing, like he commits to that and it's great. But there are a couple points in the movie where he kind of stops and he gathers himself and then he goes back and commits. But that initial moment of like, I don't know what the fuck is going to happen, I'm just going to commit, I feel like he pulls away almost more than anyone in this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how easy it is to commit to when you're on a fucking just to bring this back up, a 1 mile slip and slide covered in lube. But yeah, I could see where you're pulling that from though, Mikey, because I kind of wondered, it could just be first time jitters, but yeah, I don't know. Like when you're on a fucking air inflated tube on the lakes of some rural fucking Alberta, fucking campground or something, and your dad's got the speedboat and you're trying to hang on for dear life to your brother on the other side of the inner tube. Do you try to eject him, or do you try to hang on for dear life? I don't know. I think when you're terrified, are you really thinking about these things? Are you thinking, is it like a self-preservation thing maybe?
It is, but I think that's the difference between what I would be like on Jackass, because I'm a fucking pansy. Like, of course I'm going to pull away, but I don't want to watch a movie of myself in Jackass. You kind of want to see that Evel Knievel daredevil mentality in these guys. And I think we kind of missed a bit of that in this one.
Good point.
Yeah, I'm definitely good at the pull-out game.
Pull-out game's wrong.
I think that is a good point to stop and rate this stunt. Let's all pull out, shall we? Chris, you want to pull out first? What's your rating on this one?
I liked it. It was a good introduction to the new guys. I know we've had a little bit of criticism for it, but I mean, this was the first kind of thing where we kind of had everybody together. It had that kind of vibe to it. I enjoyed this quite a bit. I loved seeing the carnage. I love seeing them go from a lube to covered in dirt. I don't know, just something that gets me off.
I was going to say, holy moly. That's very specific.
So, yeah, I know. I found that genre the other night. That's why my computer's probably not working very well. I'm going to go with 6.9 out of 10.
Okay. Jay, what about you?
Yeah, Slip and Slide was all right, but I think there's better things in the movie overall. It was fun to see the eagerness of the new guys getting to say their name on camera, like I mentioned, and just, being so giddy about it. It was funny, but overall, not my favorite thing. I'd probably just give it a solid 6 out of 10. 6
out of 10. Yeah, I'm even a little bit lower than you guys on this one. I think it was a good concept, but it just felt almost like a proving grounds, and I didn't need to be privy to that. I kind of wanted to see more of a finished product. Although the greatest moment of this, I know I mentioned Jasper losing his momentum or gaining momentum and going to the side. The greatest thing was watching Jackass flying through the air in slow motion. That was fucking mesmerizing. Like to see all that movement in slow motion and him get that much air. That was nice. I'm going to give this one though a kind of a middling 5 out of 10.
Right on.
Marker Mikey.
Cool. Well, Chris, how about going from covered in lube and dirt to being covered in bees? SteveO is about to do a bee stunt that it's a bee stunt unlike any bee stunt that's been bee stunted before. Did I say bee stunt enough times? Listen, cool. Let's do this, guys. It's a brown box they've got, and this brown box is very special. I think I've
found a few special brown boxes in my life.
Well done. I think there comes a point in all of our lives, boys, where we meet that special someone. We just want to get down on one knee, preferably when they're standing on an elevated platform with their wang out, and pop the question, open that little brown box, and present the queen bee. SteveO is going to place this queen bee, not on his ring finger, though. This is a different kind of ring finger altogether, I might say. He's going to put this thing on his cock. And I love that it is basically a cock ring with like a little container for the queen bee to, to chill out in on his wiener. And luckily, they've also got an entire colony of bees that happen to love their mom very, very much and are going to do anything to protect her. Put 2 and 2 together here. This is I don't want to call it a beard of bees because it's not. I don't know if there's a better way to describe this, but he's about to have a big dick full of bees. And when this came up, I was just...
Here's my question.
SteveO to a T. Sorry, Mike.
It is very SteveO, but here's the one thing that I find very strange about this one. When you think of when you think of SteveO, I just stepped on my own joke. But when you think of SteveO, you think of Manscaped these days. He advertises it 20 times in every one of his podcasts. You'd think he could have done some clipping before he hangs major dong in this episode or in this movie, because he's not clean at all. Like, what is that about? Yeah.
That's actually a very good point.
Yeah, Manscaped, they're watching him just like, hey, I thought we had the right guy. What happened here? Yeah.
Well, he was doing a thing where he was saving up his pubes to turn himself into like to make like a what's it called, a Sasquatch suit out of pubes. And then he actually had a whole party because he was doing it for so long and just wasn't getting anywhere. So he got a pube shaving party sponsored by Manscaped, I think, and to collect for the suit that he had going on. So maybe this was like as he's trying to build up to actually produce for his costume.
Okay, that actually would make a little bit more sense.
Where the fuck are you storing like a Sasquatch's worth? SteveO, you're a gem, buddy. You're a gem. I love you.
He probably had it in a nice brown box.
Chris is the color brown is the theme of this. Like, you know how Sesame Street has like their letter of the day. Chris is the color of the day and it's brown. He just keeps doing it up.
Mike, we don't watch Sesame Street. We're not trying to find out what the little kids are doing these days.
Well, they're definitely not watching this movie because there's just a huge, like, framed for the big screen SteveO's dong in this one, which still kind of amazes me that he's so blatantly hanging dong in this one. But it's also so funny how confidently Wee Man, like when Johnny's like, how are we going to get all the bees to SteveO's dick? And Wee Man steps onto the scene like a fucking bee expert, and he's got the answer like ready to go. He's like, follow my lead, guys. I got this. Where's the queen? He's just like, we're like, SteveO, where did that come from? It's amazing.
I love how much bigger they made it look. They're like, we're going to make your dong look real nice, you know? And then it's like it's really hanging after a while. Like those bees, I don't know, it's so weird.
It's really hanging there.
It is, yeah.
What about all the cuts back to Poopies that we get, who's just like not comfortable around the bees? Like he's constantly like dodging them, like trying to like slip them and like counter right hook. He's like all the time. My favorite moments in this, because this, I think the concept of this one is very good, but do we get the payoff? It kind of remains to be seen a little bit. We'll talk about that in a bit. But when they kept cutting back to Poopies getting stung, that to me was like the best part of the whole thing.
Well, the funny thing is like you like, bees that I understand, like they don't just sting people for no reason, but like immediately SteveO is getting stung on the fucking dick. Like you hear him screaming, and that's not a fake scream. I was wondering about that. Yeah, I was wondering if he was just selling it. No, they showed the bites after.
Yeah, by the end, yes, he definitely took a couple stings.
I think he took more than a couple. He was fucking. Did you see that situation that was going on there? It was real snuffleupagus type of situation there. Like that thing was just fucking drooping and bouncing around. Like there were so many bees crawling all over him. He had to have gotten like multiple stings.
I wonder if it has to do with like the pheromones around a ball sack, where the bees are like, "Yo, what's our queen doing around this thing? I'm gonna insert myself into this situation, literally."
Yeah, it's like when you get your mom starts dating a new. A new stepdaddy. You're like, I'm not so sure about this guy.
Wait, you stick your dick inside him?
Wait, what?
That's what the bees did, Jay. Is that what you did?
What you mean? Did Chris? I didn't even catch. I caught half of what Chris said, and it sounded like to my ears. He said, "Did you put your dick inside him?" And
you got it right.
How is that like a measurement of his, validity as a future parent? Just
you tell us, Jay. You're the one who's doing it.
Yeah, if he can't take the cock, he's got to get out. If he can't take the cock, he's got to stop.
I think like on a list of things, it's got to be at least a number 3, but I wouldn't put it at the top. I mean, And hey, if he wants part of the family, he can't just receive. Like, he's got to give a little too. You know,
that's true.
It can't all be one sided. So
it's true.
Let's, talking about receiving though, look at SteveO here, and when he is screaming, I want to focus on that for a second, because you kind of have, there's two sides of the argument here. Mikey thinks that maybe he was putting it on a little bit, where Chris thinks that was all authentic. I lean more towards the Chris territory, because just think of how sensitive your dick is. I mean, come on. If a bee stinger goes in there, like, I've been stung behind the ears, I've been stung on the arms and legs before. That fucking hurts.
Yes.
So I just can't see any reality where he was putting that on in my mind.
I agree. No, I do think, especially at the end when they show, even if he had 3 bee stings in his nutsack, and it's clear he had more than that, it becomes clear that he was actually feeling pain. Although I feel like SteveO's gotten really good at knowing how to sell a stunt, like his screams are primal and immediate. Like, was it a little bit of both, kind of? It's like when I'm editing the videos for this podcast and I'm putting together the thumbnails, it's impossible to get a facial expression out of Chris, because he's not playing to the camera. He's just like, look at him right now. Look at him just sitting there. Yeah. This is more for our YouTube audience. I, on the other hand, am always like going out of the way to be expressive, and some people hate that.
Yourself on the fucking back and look at the thumbnail pictures. How much more expressive mine are than yours. I always have the crazy face. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay, all right. It's always just like harder to get, and I think that's like, he's a performer now. Like, he knows that when he's on camera, it isn't just about feeling the pain. And we talk about this in like season 3 of Jackass, how you get like the crayfish diaper, and he's just like, what? Like, he's not giving us anything. And it's like, well, then why am I going to care? If he were to do the crayfish diaper now, it would be an entirely different story.
That's a pretty good point, but I don't know why you had to drag me into this. Now I'm all bitter. Now I'm just gonna fucking stay straight face for the rest of the time. Give you an extra couple hours of searching for the thumbnail.
Fine, I'll just get your worst looking. I'll get it when you were setting up your camera at the beginning, from like a deep underneath, like from your belly button up to your face. That's what I'm gonna use as the thumbnail now.
Then we won't be brothers anymore.
Well, guys, do you want to give this one a rating? I mean, he had thousands of bees on his ball sack, and I feel like that warrants a rating for this one. Jay, you want to lead us off?
Okay, well, I think with this one, the ball sack full of bee stingers has to get at least a solid 7. No, you know what? I'll even give it an 8 out of 10. I actually really like this one, just because the visual, I think, sticks in my mind so strongly of that fucking bee, like, snuffleupagus situation that I referenced. Is like, the way it just droops and hangs. It like flows. It's kind of like those stereograms, those 3D pictures that if you stare at long enough, it kind of pops out at you. It's just got a flow and a waviness to it that I really like. And SteveO for doing this in the first place, because it probably hurt like a bitch. And I just think overall, this is a great, like, SteveO didn't have a whole lot of spotlight in the movie. Right. When you think about it, it was good that he had this moment. So I really enjoyed it for that.
True. Chris, what about you?
I'm going to go, surprisingly, with a 4 out of 10 for the 4 inches of penis Mikey's packing.
Okay.
Not a fan of this one, eh? How come?
No, I mean, it was lackluster is my word. Like, I did like the Poopies part. I don't know, that it just didn't really resonate with me in any ways. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like, I understand the fear and the pain value and all that different stuff that came around, but it just didn't do it for me. 4 out of 10.
Yeah, I actually agree with you 100%, Chris. I think, again, there's something to the idea of this one, but think about, like, later on in the movie, we get Danger Aaron with the bear coming in, and they like lather him up with honey and salmon, and they make a big show out of it. There wasn't any of that in this one. There wasn't any circumstance to it. So it kind of comes and goes, and you're like, oh, that was it. Like, I feel like they could have done more to it. I'm right there with you, Chris, with a 4 out of 10 for the amount of inches I'm packing.
Well, if you put 2 and 2 together, I mean, it might actually be pretty impressive.
That's true.
That's why girls like the brother tag team.
There you go. That's all you need. Now, if only there was a way to, like, stick them together and, oh wait, yeah, they call that docking. There's a way to do that. There you go. You're covered, guys. Nothing to worry about.
We got it.
Listen, this next sketch, I really feel like, boys, and I think you'll agree, that Jackass is really the Seinfeld of our generation, is it not? I mean, think about it. Seinfeld had the end of its run as the new millennium was, on the horizon. And then Jackass comes out. It really is a show about nothing, after all. I mean, there's really no point. The segments are just here to entertain, and there's no continuity. It's just a show about nothing. So I think when you see this next sketch and you think, wow, how much of a sketch about nothing can we make? I think this is the one in the movie that hits that target for me most. This is Irving Zisman, Johnny Knoxville's old man character, all up in the makeup and everything, ready to go. They're just going to go furniture shopping, and hijinks are going to ensue. Like, I felt like this one in particular, I was really stoked to see what was going to happen. I was excited, and then it happened, and it kind of fell flat for me. But let's talk about it a little bit here. And
first of all, I don't want to move right past what you just said about the Seinfeld thing. That's a really good point, because I think, like, for our specific generation, what people liked about Seinfeld was it was a show about nothing, right? It was a show about nothing. Oh, that's what me and my friends do, and those are the conversations we get into. So, Jackass was a show about the shit you get up to with your friends when no one else is around. And there was that weird, like, oh shit, other people have weird ass conversations in lives just like I do, and you realize that we all have this shared experience. There's actually something to that, Jay. I think that's a really good point.
Why, thank you. Hi, my name's Kramer, and this is stand-up comedy.
oh, guys, turn your phones off. Turn your phones off immediately. We don't want to see how this ends.
All right. So furniture shopping. Can we talk about furniture shopping?
Let's talk about it. I like the setup. The premise is that Johnny's there in his classic Irving Zisman makeup, and he's going to go. They've got a plant in there, which is Jackass, a new employee who's helping hang a banner, and Rachel Wolfson, who is Johnny Knoxville, Irving Zisman's granddaughter. Now, here's the thing. The premise is that Johnny's going to be going around testing new furniture as Irving Zisman. And there's one piece of furniture he's going to lay down on, which is like one of those blobs. I don't know what they call them, but you see them on lakes all the time at like summer camps, where one person sits on one end. It's like this giant inflatable thing. Someone jumps on the other end and it pushes the other person up super high and they land in the water. My question is this. Who in their right mind, who's working at a furniture store, comes into work one Sunday afternoon and sees that there and thinks, yeah, that's definitely a piece of furniture that we've sold before? What is that thing supposed to be in the first place?
They made it look like a couch, like not a couch,
really.
But like a giant.
It was brown. It was brown,
like a giant beanbag,
kind of. But
to be honest, I literally never thought about that for 1 second. It seemed like it fit right in for me.
Really? Okay. Maybe I'm just smart.
I know you're a little too fucking smart, but you know, the rest of us fucking plebeians or whatever the hell they're called.
Plebeians.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like Jay said, it felt flat to me. I fucking erupted. He flung through the fucking roof.
Well, yeah, Chris, why don't you explain how he ends up flying? Yeah.
So Jackass is up there fixing a light or doing something along those lines, and he's on this like elevated platform, and he falls backwards onto the launching zone. And Zisman, aka Johnny Knoxville, literally flies into the roof. The fact that I think that they didn't expect him to go that high.
I agree.
And he crashed into the roof, and they're interviewing like the people, like they're not interviewing, but you see the people talking, like he went into the roof. He literally went into the fucking roof. Like you say, fall flat. He fall flat on his face after flying into a fucking roof. Like all the dust comes out. I imagine just for 1 second, like maybe you would have picked up on it, but you're in a store and at the corner of your eye, you see an old man fucking getting catapulted into the fucking roof. I absolutely love it. I can't
Chris, I agree with you. As much as I find it hilarious that no one picked up on the fact that there's a piece of furniture that's insanely impractical laying in their showroom, I still found this fucking hilarious. I thought it was amazing. Like, just like you said, the visual of an old man flying through the ceiling of a furniture store is objectively hilarious.
Fall on the ground, you know?
Yes. But imagine falling on the ground is one thing. Falling on the roof, that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah. No, you know what? I see why you guys are excited.
No, they kind of add on to it because Rachel Wolfson comes in looking for her grandma. And I think at one point she has the line like, oh, this happens all the time, which is really fucking funny. Like,
yeah.
What do you mean?
That's a good line.
Your grandpa is constantly shooting through the ceilings of furniture stores. It's amazing. A simple one. It didn't take long. It took a decent amount of coordination. Victimless stunts, so they're not all of the ingredients to this one make for a really solid sketch.
Yeah. No, I see where you guys are coming from in terms of it being funny watching him go into the ceiling like it is. But I feel here's always the fucking contrarian here. I must, once again, I feel like this was too telegraphed. That's what I had an issue with, is that when it starts, you've got Jackass up on the lift. He's going to fall on the pillow and launch Knoxville. But I'm already wondering when it starts, why is he wearing the outfit of the store? Like, why is he employed here? Wouldn't they be like on, pick up on that, this guy doesn't belong here? So I'm thinking the store must have been in on it, because it just seems too weird.
Absolutely. But I think that's fine. You can't do this. You can't set up a prank in a furniture store like this without involving the owner of the store or something like that. Yeah. So that's kind of a given. And they're probably saying like, here's a new hire. You got this new kid. He can help you hang banners all day if you want.
But I just feel like, to read deeper into it, you got the pillow directly under the lift where there's no railing. Like, if you work there as a manager, you'd be like, this isn't safe. I should probably move this fucking thing. And because it just, I could tell what they were going for, but here's why. It's fine if you have this stuff set up for the sake of the sketch. That's fine. But I think with this type of sketch, when you're about to launch someone through the ceiling, you need the element of surprise. And once I saw that cushion, I already knew before it happened what was about to take place here. And I will parallel this across, let's go back to Jackass, the first movie. You guys remember the bank heist?
Yes.
Where they fall through the ceiling? Like, we didn't know that was going to happen. Like, we knew they were sneaking around, but there was no telegraph of like, oh, they're going to fall through into the room. And Chris's favorite fucking guy who takes off running down the street. That whole scenario is just so goddamn funny because it happens instantly and you're like, whoa, what the fuck was that? Whereas with this, I didn't have that element of surprise. And because I knew it was coming, it fell flat for me there. Like, I didn't feel
that makes sense. That makes sense. I don't think it was a perfect prank by any means. I do think that the visual was hilarious and I did get something out of it, but is it their best prank? No, but I still think it was worth having in the movie. I did enjoy it. And even though I agree, I knew exactly what was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen that much to that extent. Which is also kind of why I wonder, like, is this why there's only one of these? Is because this one was just so much better than anything they could have imagined. It was great.
Like, going kind of off what Jay said, it's like, I find myself when I'm watching Jackass or any pranks in general, I try and put myself in the shoes of the random people there. So I knew this was going to happen. But as Mikey said, I didn't expect the payout to be as good as it was. And then on top of that, I'm just imagining myself being there, opposed to watching this movie, expecting something to be happening. So that's kind of how I tend to look at these things, because I find that a little bit more funny that way. But yeah.
I gotcha. And, that had to have been a rigged ceiling, right? Like, the way he flew in there, if they hadn't checked first what was on the other side, like fluorescent lights or, I don't know, sharp screws or nails or something, like, they had to have known ahead of time, okay, this needs to be have some degree of safety to it.
You say that, Jay, but remember on the the chairs that exploded up, there was no protection right where Wee Man flew backwards. So I don't know how much check they're really doing over here,
Well, I think one thing we can all agree on is that he went higher than a moose's caboose.
Very Canadian of you, Jay. You guys want to give this one a rating? I feel like it warrants one.
Yeah, absolutely. You want me to jump in there?
Yeah, let's go.
Do it.
I'm going an 8.5 out of 10. I fucking loved it.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice.
Oh shit, right on.
Mikey, you know what? I'm lower than that. I did enjoy it, but I like everything Jay said. I do agree with. I just don't think that ruined the stunt for me necessarily. I think it was worth watching. I'm going with a 7.5 out of 10.
Right on. Yeah, obviously you guys know I'm going to be lower on this one. I didn't hate it. I like seeing him fly up in the air, but I'm probably going to do what you guys did on the bees and just go a 4 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think there's better things in the movie, but it was good to see him go flying. And Chris is right, though. He fucking went into the ceiling and disappeared for a few seconds, which was just so yeah, the next one Chris already alluded to. This is musical chairs, and this features Rob. It's Dyrdek?
Dyrdek.
Rob Dyrdek.
Sorry, Rob Dyrdek. I know who he is. I'm just, anyway, not important. I got to say, this guy's energy, though, is very important. We need to spend a moment to just talk about the way he presents. Like, he comes on camera and he's like one of those fucking naturopath healers who would be doing a seminar to a room full of middle-aged moms who are trying to fix their chakras or whatever. And he's like, here today we have the War Dogs, and he's touching everybody. War Dogs.
Yes.
War Dogs.
It was so creepy. It was awkward. I didn't like it.
Oh, dude. I don't know what's up with Rob, but I was just busting up laughing at this.
I know Chris is going to be upset because I know Chris likes Rob, but I similar to you, Jay, I had like mega church vibes from him, like a pastor at a mega church, like, oh, come up on stage, Cynthia. That's
I've kind of his gimmick, you know.
I know. It just didn't work for me in this for some reason because like this isn't that, you know. Rob does really good job of like Rob is a marketer and all of his shows are like this, especially something like Ridiculousness where he basically just ripped off Daniel Tosh. He knows what works and then he applies his own accent to it. And I just don't think he needed to do that in Jackass, but I don't think you get him without that. So I'm kind of indifferent. It's a wash for me.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, he's just here to present. He's not actually taking part. We have 4 chairs arranged back to back to back in like a circular pattern. And basically what's going to happen here is that we've got, it's Wee Man. We've got Wee Man. We've got Dave England, right? Am I not? Someone help me out here. I didn't actually write down the names and I watched this.
Nick Marilino was in there for sure.
Yeah, we got Wee Man, Jasper, Nick Marilino, and Dave England.
Okay, right on. So basically the idea is musical chairs. We're going to get up and frolic around the chairs as Knoxville's standing behind the fold-up table with the music. But what we don't know yet as the viewer is what's going to happen when the music stops and everybody sits down. Everybody is fucking nervous. And as a viewer, I love this because we don't know. We don't know why they're so nervous. We can only guess. And that gets the imagination going. Fucking love that. What did you guys think?
The best part about it, number one, when, you know, even before they do it, Robs goes, how many times are we going to get? And the look of Johnny when he's like, oh, only one. And you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? You know? And so they build it up from that point on. And then the fact that they didn't do it the first time or the second time. And each time the guys get up just a little shakier, a little more
mad. They're mad.
Yeah. I would be so pissed. Just get it fucking over with, you know? You're going to make me do this fucking shit again. And little to our surprise, it wasn't just one person. Every single seat was rigged and they all fucking get blown up.
So that was one thing I wanted to ask because I didn't know. I didn't know if I missed something, but I was like, I think I'm like everyone else in the theater, I guess. I expected it to just be one loser. But the fact that they do it to everyone, like you guys didn't expect that either, right? Like I'm not alone in that.
No, I thought it was going to be a random chair. Something was going to happen to it. But yeah, when the hydraulics went off and sent everybody sky high, it was fucking just, man, I lost it, man. That was a great moment.
I found it funny because when I was watching it, I mean, there's a winner of this one for us, and to that person, it's a loser. And it's Wee Man. Wee Man just gets demolished in this one.
He broke physics.
He broke physics. So much so that when we first saw this in theaters, I didn't even realize everyone else got hit by this stunt. I didn't realize everyone else's chairs exploded. So when Johnny is stopping and starting every time they sit down, I wrote in my notes, I'm like, oh my God, Johnny's stopping and starting because he wanted it to be Wee Man who got hurt. But no, everyone gets hurt. Yeah. And I started to clue into it because the second time Wee Man stops in the same chair. So I was like, wait a second. No, if Johnny wanted to hit Wee Man, he would have done it there. Like I remembered the angle it coming from, but man, that was amazing. And Wee Man, I mean, I guess, it's just his weight versus everyone else's weight, but flipping up in the air backwards in between the chairs was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. And as Chris already mentioned too, Chris, those hydraulic pipes, those steel pipes are behind each chair and he lands upside down on those pipes, which is just brutal.
It's
they didn't put a cushion or anything.
And they make a comment on it like, hey, maybe we should have had safety take a look at this before we started this. Like no pillows laid up on the hydraulic pipes. It's just metal, just thick metal for Wee Man's thick head. Yeah.
I mean, I think we said all that we could say about this one. It's pretty much over fairly quickly, but I loved the roller coaster ride that it is because you, like I said, as the viewer, are just waiting to see what is going to happen. And not only are they keeping everyone in suspense, but they keep you in suspense too by, doing the song 3 times over. And we got to mention, you said everybody was getting progressively more upset.
Yes.
I love Wee Man's scowl after the first Like he just looks like the grumpiest person in the room. Like he's just got like the kind of scowl that a little kid gets in the toy store when you tell him you're not buying him that dump truck he wants or whatever. It's just like
and then you throw that kid against some pipes and it's hilarious.
Right. As we all do. So coming up next, well, actually, you know what? Let's rate this one.
Let's rate this one. This one's definitely worth it. I'll start us off with this one. I don't think I've started off yet. I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10. I loved the anticipation. It was simple. You get that guest element, even though I, take it or leave it with Rob Dyrdek. But no, I loved it. 8 out of 10.
I'm going to go with 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, I enjoyed it. The buildup was great. The payout was great, but I still wanted like a little bit more. I don't know. It was, it's still a great score. 7.5 out of 10.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I'm going to go 8 out of 10
nice.
On this one.
Oh, look, it looks like Chris is the bad marker now.
I'm a tough character.
How does it feel?
I'm feeling mean and angry today, so I'm going to fucking take it out on my marks and my students.
Your students. Okay.
All right, guys. I feel like there's been a significant lack of Chris Pontius cameos, characters, if you will. That's always something that we love to see. And seeing Chris Pontius dressed up as Pontius the scholar, the philosopher here was great. He tells us a story of a father and son who are in jail, and together they decided to collect some feathers from the birds that would pass by the cell window and make some wings. And also, we're not wearing underwear beneath these robes. That has de-escalated quickly. Basically, this is a big shot out of a cannon that you probably would have seen in the trailer. Knoxville is about to fly a little too close to the sun. And this is short and sweet, but guys, I really love the visual of this one. And there's one thing in particular I think you'll agree with is that, first of all, this cannon's huge. Like it is... This is probably the biggest cannon shot they've done. Like it's a long barrel. It's pointed right up into the sky. You got everybody gathered around. But the thing is, when Knoxville gets shot out of this, and they've got a camera probably on a drone or something above him, and he spreads his wings. Knoxville was actually in control enough to make that shot happen, which is surprising. And he holds it for a good couple seconds. It's a beautiful visual.
It's a 10 out of 10 for form. But like it was just to be able to do that in that situation. All the guys are sitting like they're looking at the angle of the cannon. Like, fuck, this is going to be bad. You know what I mean? Like they're like, this is big, and he shoots out just so perfectly, so gracefully, and then smash. You know what I mean? Like this really landed visually for me.
This has got to be one of the most expensive stunts that they do too. And Jay, you mentioned, it's pretty quick. Like it's in and out. We know exactly what's going to happen. It doesn't pull any punches, but there's always something like this in the Jackass movies. And so much of it is used specifically for promotion, right? Like the image of Johnny with his wings spread, looking at the camera 100 feet off the ground, whatever, maybe not that high, but however high it is. A mile off the ground. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. That is correct. Yeah.
I bet you, like they're getting so good at this that I bet you Jeff Tremaine and Johnny said like, hey, Johnny, you need to get this right. You need to spread your wings. You need to stare into the camera because this is going to be on every poster that we use for Jackass 4. It has the vibe of that. And I know that going into it, I'm like, just give me a little bit of flash, give me a little bit of pomp and circumstance. I'm good with that. And I don't think it disappoints. It's fun. Like you said at the beginning, Jay, this cannon is way bigger than people realize. When you see Johnny loading into it from the top, he is nothing compared to the size of it. So it's, I don't know how big it would be. It's probably half a mile long? Something like that. Yeah, probably half a mile.
Yeah, I think we were pushing it a little bit by saying a full mile, but I agree with half. Yeah, half looks good.
Maybe half a mile. Yeah.
I just always loved human cannons. Like ever since we were kids, our friends, our like family friend owned the circus, so we'd go to the circus all the time, and that was always my favorite thing because I was like, one day I'm gonna see this guy miss the fucking net. Yeah, I cannot wait for that fucking day. But it never happened, unfortunately. Or
unfortunately, it never happened. Yeah.
Man, I got to say about this cannon, though, guys, it's something I don't think gets thought about enough is what must it be like to be inside of this cannon, like before launch? Like I'm just thinking of all the variables here. First of all, it's got to be claustrophobic as fuck. You're in the barrel just not knowing when this thing's going to go off. And secondly, like, did they like coat the inside with oil or lube or something?
I don't know. I've always wondered that.
No, you know what I think it is? Be like, I don't think it's a cannon. I think the noise is for effect, and it's basically like
a spring
pad, but I think it's a spring.
Yeah, I mean it's
like they
definitely
coil the
not
spring back, and then they hit the button, and then the spring just shoots them out.
He's sitting in like a harness or some sort of seat, and that thing just kind of pushes him up. Is what you're saying?
No, I think his feet are on a platform, and then when the spring gets coiled down, they release the spring, but they also make a bang noise at the same time. So the floor, which would be a circular floor on the inside, shoots his feet up and out.
That's obviously like real cannons shoot out of the barrel because of an explosion. Like you would die if that happened, really. But Chris, think about this: like, where is he standing up against the outer cylinder? Like, if the spring shoots him up, is his face like rubbing against the inside of the barrel as he shoots up? Like, how does he avoid that? That's something I've never understood.
Jay was right with lube for sure.
Yeah.
You have to, otherwise you get serious burn coming out of there if you touch the sides. So yeah, that's just crazy. It's something that you don't think about. It's more elaborate than it looks. It only takes like 10 seconds, but a bunch of planning had to go into this for it to work. Last thing I want to say about the cannon, though, just to take a page out of our Viva La Bam episodes, it's like it's 2003 and Exhibit designed this cannon. Flames up the side and shit. That's a flashy cannon.
I love that. No, they needed that too. They needed it to look flashy and big. Like I said, this is for promotional purposes only almost. But that said, I did really like it. And I think because they knew what they were doing, they were not trying to get super elaborate. They're not trying to they're not changing the game and putting the cannon like on the ground and just skidding him across. Like, they're not changing it up on you when it goes. And I knew that, and they set it up and they give you what you want. Because of that, I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10. Like, it's a pretty high score, but I think that that's kind of warranted. It's not doing anything different, but it's also not trying to. Yeah,
that's fair. I mean, I'd probably go right up to a 7 out of 10 on this one for the same reasons that I like that. If he hadn't got the full spread correct, if like he had fucked that up, or it was like just not, if it didn't have that visual element, I probably would have rated lower. But when I saw that, I was thinking, man, that's some beautiful shit right there. It kind of felt like the swan song of Knoxville, as if like we're sending him off. This movie's kind of it's a little bittersweet, and you see him shooting out of the cannon. Who knows if we'll ever get another one of these? So I liked it.
Chris, what about you?
Well, just like the story of Icarus, I think they tried to fly to a perfect 10. But his wings burned out around a 7. I'm going with a 7 out of 10.
Very nice.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. I said a rhyme every time.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he was about 3 miles short of the stuff in there.
Yeah, that one. Exactly.
That's got to be it. Yeah.
Somewhere around there. Listen, guys, that was a lot of fun. But from the boom of a cannon to a little bit of shut the fuck up, if you will, this is the quiet game. We've got
you're skipping past the interstitial. We got the Wiley Coyote style interstitial with Eric Banaka biking straight into the painted canvas. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, run us through that. I guess you kind of just did, but
it's pretty,
run through it again.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. Eric Banaka on a bike. He's biking into what looks like a sidewalk that's going towards a ramp, but it turns out it's not that. That's a photograph which has been spread out a la Wiley Coyote trying to catch the Roadrunner. And whereas the Roadrunner would have been able to just pass right through the painting somehow, Eric Banaka just bikes straight into the canvas. Knowing that this is what's happening, I can see it coming. But the first time I saw it, I didn't expect it. I just thought he was going down. It like, and that quick like stop that he has by hitting it is very jarring when you don't expect it.
I wish they didn't put this in the trailer because
yes,
like you said, I didn't know that was a canvas. I had no idea. And you know what? Eric Banaka, like, I'm not trying to like diss the guy or nothing, but he didn't really show up in this movie. Like to be someone that is kind of is billed as one of the new members, unless there's a lot more stuff on 4.5 that we haven't seen yet.
Right.
This was his best moment as far as I'm concerned. And he committed fully to that. And to be honest, I think that would be one of the hardest things to fully commit to, because like it just, you don't know where your body's going to go, where your face is going to hit. You just have to just suck it up and just go right into this fucking thing. And there's a lot of fucking balls for that. So I have a feeling we're going to get to see a little bit more out of him in the 4.5.
I agree. There has to be more of that. And I said that earlier, that I think Eric of all of the new members kind of pulls away from the stunts most in this, but this one, no, he fully commits to, and it's great. And you can tell he gets major respect from the from the old dogs who are there. I think it's like Dave Englund, Chris Pontius, and Johnny Knoxville kind of patting him on the back afterwards. So good on him. I think he's got a lot of promise there.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think the only thing with this sketch is that I felt it was irresponsible. Wouldn't you guys agree it was a little irresponsible? I mean,
was it irresponsible?
Well, think about it for a second. I mean, like, it was realistic. I mean, I thought, wow, that actually looks convincing before he went, and face first into the board. But I mean, I feel like they wasted a lot of paper on this, printing this thing out. Like, how many trees had to die to print this screen?
True.
I think they could have been more ethical in their setup here, but maybe getting Jon Favreau on the phone and saying, hey, can we borrow some of your Mandalorian Unreal 5 screens and just put a backdrop up there or something?
Jay,
why
waste paper
is all I'm saying. What?
How tall does the sycamore grow? If you cut it down, you will never know.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You ever seen Pocahontas? Color of the Wind?
Yeah, but all right, moving on. This next sketch.
Chris, you just out-Jay'd Jay.
Yeah, I think so. Well, he was talking about how many trees get cut down, and I thought about the color of the wind.
Yeah, it's well done.
Yeah, thank you.
This next sketch. So what did you guys think?
Oh, what happened there? Did we lose you for a second?
No, what are you talking about?
Or did you just take a break?
This next sketch, Mikey.
Oh, it's the quiet game. I get it. Well done.
I never would have clued into that. I'm stupid.
It's okay. So here's a little bit of a.
Never seen a mime before.
I would have picked up on that. The listener doesn't realize this, but we had so many technical difficulties before starting this episode that I was like, of course, Jay's mic just cut out on our last stunt of the day.
Yeah,
I probably shouldn't be fucking around on Today of All Days, that's for sure. But yes.
But I will say I fucking loved this one. I think it should have been longer. Yeah. I think they should have done more. The concept is great. The only thing about this is there's a guy who's been doing this on, I think, TikTok or Vine for years, and they flat out just take the idea from him. Like, someone in the writer's room knew that this was going on. The guy will and he even dresses up as a mime. He dresses up as a mime and like jumps on Lego or like takes a razor scooter to the shin, like all this stuff. And I was almost uncomfortable watching this because I just pictured this guy watching them do this and being like, what the fuck? Like, this was my idea.
Well, you know what, man? How many fucking Jackass things got ripped off by other people down the line? Every once in a while, it's fine. Recycle it, do it better. Like, fuck it, they earn that respect because they started the game, literally.
Yeah, I mean, even the concept of filming yourself getting hurt, he owes that to them anyway. So they're the daddy's going to take what you owe.
I would take that as a nod. You know what I mean? If your sensei starts taking your moves, then you've really grown into yourself. So take it as a compliment. Don't take it as a theft.
Here's a question I have for you guys, though. Here's a question I have, because we've got three people lined up. We got Rachel Wolfson, new member. We got Poopies, new member, and we've got SteveO. There was a part of me that's like, oh, these new kids don't have a fucking clue what's about to hit them. He's going to dominate this one. And I was like, it's though it was a sports team I was cheering for. I was cheering for SteveO to win this one. And Rachel Wolfson goes, she's badass. She has to lick a taser. She licks the taser, no noise. Poopies has to get bit by a snake on the fucking face. Gets bit a couple times. Yeah, no noise. And then SteveO he takes the skateboard to the shins in the skateboard guillotine, and he immediately cracks. And I was like, no, SteveO, what are you doing?
It hurt me a little inside, And I'm not downplaying a skateboard to the shins. That's fucking brutal.
Yes.
But I think, as you were saying, Mikey, SteveO's become more of a showman.
Yes.
And even though he knew, it's just his instinct. It's like, when you become the character, it's like your instinct takes over. And like he didn't, I don't think he screamed as much out of pain as he did out of like dramatizing it, and instantaneously caught himself like, oh, fuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, he does. He does catch himself real quick. And it's more than anything, I laughed at that more than the pain, just the way he reacted to, oh shit, I'm screaming. And then he just recognized that and cuts off. You can see his thought process.
I agree. It almost wasn't out of necessity. It was out of habit. And then he realized that he made the mistake of he shouldn't have been selling it. I agree.
I love the hijinks on set too when they do the taser. After Rachel's done licking the taser, Knoxville grabs it and starts chasing after Jeff Tremaine, and he's just screaming, "I'm saving you, Jeff! I'm saving you!" And he's just trying to shock him. And then we get the reveal after he leaves him alone. Jeff's rolling around on the floor, and he says, "I had a taser in my pocket. I just couldn't get it out."
Well, because to be fair, when you're getting chased with a taser, you're not thinking, "I've got something to defend myself." It's get me the fuck away from this thing immediately. Like. Yeah. I've got something I want to bring up, and you guys aren't going to like this because I always bring up weird shit like this. I don't know if it means anything, but I noticed this watching Rachel Wolfson's part, which she licks a fucking taser. That's badass. Good on her. And that scene, that image of her licking the taser set her career on fire, right? Like deservedly so. It was a poster for Jackass, this and that. Did you notice that the taser she licks is not the same as the taser that's on the post when the stunt is finished?
No, are you sure about that? I didn't catch that.
I'm dead serious. The one she licks is flat. It's flat and it has the little thing kind of shooting up. But then they go, once she's walking away, Johnny's standing next to the taser and it's got like a pointed up. It's like a different looking taser. It's got like two pointy things and a little hoop in it. And I don't know, maybe it was just someone else doing it. Maybe she had to do it again for another shot. But I'm always thrown off when they cut and something's different. I don't think they set anything up. I don't think there was a mistake. If anything, it was probably just for the way they could film it. But I don't know. It was that kind of
maybe be like when he took the taser and was chasing Jeff, they like accidentally switched the one that Jeff had.
Could have been. Yeah, it could be something like that. Yeah.
Mikey, if you put on a green striped shirt and I squint a little, you might kind of look like the guy from Blue's Clues, you know?
No, he's Blippy, the new child guy.
Don't call me the child guy. I don't like being called the child guy ever.
But you are.
I'm like really skirting at having a mustache. If you call me the child guy, that's really not going to go well for me.
Well, you kind of bring it on yourself.
Do I?
Yeah. You're hanging out at schools, fucking wearing a mustache.
Okay, so a guy with a mustache can't hang around a school anymore? Where do you think ice cream trucks go first? Daddy wants an ice cream. Find me at the school,
Did you just
baby.
call yourself daddy when you're hanging out at a school?
Daddy wants an ice cream. So daddy's going to school, baby.
Hell, all kids need a role model, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, who would you say is your role model in this sketch out of the three? Who would you like the most? Who did the best at this?
Honestly, Rachel. Rachel was the MVP of this one for me, for sure.
Chris?
For me, it was Poopies, just because I'm terrified of snakes, and I could tell he doesn't really like them either. And to go like face to face with it, he got bit, and they're like, "Oh no, you got to do it again." I would have been like, "Are you fucking kidding? Like, I'm already bleeding." Like in the second one, he's already bleeding, so it's not like it was a bad hit. And they make him do it again. Like fucking, Rachel was amazing in it too, but just because of the snake thing, I got to give it to Poopies.
What about you, Jay?
No, clearly it's not SteveO, but I have a hard time because I want to give it to Rachel just because like she was the first one up and like nailed it. It was like a perfect run, like 100% A+. But I agree with Chris that the snake bites looked a little more brutal, and the fact that he had to do it twice and didn't crack up, I think I'd lean more towards him. But they were both fucking stellar performances.
And when he's going up there, his lips are like quivering. He's like. You can tell how scared he was.
And the fact that they have to tell him to like move around to like get it to bite. And he's conflicted because he has to lean into it, but obviously he wants to lean away from it. And then they're like, no, incite it to bite you. He's like, but I don't want it to bite me. How could you mean incite it to bite me?
And we're forgetting the best line about it too, where they're asking the snake expert, like, is it poisonous? And he goes, meh.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, I want an answer right now.
There's also there's another thing Poopies does, which is hilarious to me. After he's bit, which is like your face is probably stinging, obviously, but that's when Johnny takes the taser and tries to tase Poopies in the face with it. He goes straight for the face, and Poopies matrixes his way away from it and finds a way to like skirt him. He's like rolling under cameras and running away, and he doesn't take it. Yeah. That was pretty good. But the one thing I will say,
antidote.
Yeah, he's looking for the antidote. The one thing I will say about Rachel, though, Poopies has to be told to go back for another shot, like to get bit again. Rachel licks the taser and then immediately goes back for another one to like just give them more footage, which I found pretty badass.
Yeah, no, she's a gangster for sure.
I want to give a little bit of spotlight before we rate to the skateboard guillotine, not SteveO's performance, but the actual contraption. I was just thinking, wouldn't it be fucking cool if they had a bunch of those in a line and they just did a wide shot of like those going off in sequence to like 6 or 7 different people?
That would be amazing. Yeah, I would take that. Dude, it's a great looking contraption. Yeah.
That all came from my thought of just, I feel like the guillotine was underutilized. I wish they would have did more with it because it's such a cool concept, and SteveO kind of botched it, and then we never saw it again. Yeah. So in the future, in the TV show, if there's a way to make use of that, please do. I think that's such a cool fucking device. But yeah, boys, we should probably give it a quick rating. Mikey, where are you at with this one?
You know what? I love the concept of this one. Even though I think it could have gone longer, I think the way that balances out is the kind of on-set antics with Johnny chasing people with a taser, Jeff Tremaine getting involved, this and that. And as much as I hated to see it when I first saw it, the fact that SteveO loses to the new crowd, I think that's good because eventually the new crowd are going to take over. I'm giving this one a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it.
Right on. Chris?
Yeah, I'm going with a 9 out of 10 as well. Like I don't, the only critique I had is I wish there was more of it. So that's always a good sign. You know what I mean? Like if you want more, there's a good sketch.
Yeah, this was definitely a lot of fun. I probably won't go as high as 9, but I had a good time with it. I'm not gonna drop too low on this one, but I do got to be I do got to be Mr. Poopy Pants on this one and just give it I liked it more than the canon, but not more than musical chairs. So 7.5 out of 10 for me on this one.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think we're going to hit one more before we put a plug in it for part 3. So let's do this. The final sketch of this episode will be Jackass and the Kite. Right out of the gate, you don't need a "Hi, I'm Jackass" and "Welcome to the Kite" when you have Chris Pontius singing some killer theme music here. This is the Jackass theme song. I wrote down some of the lyrics. Jackass, he's a real wild, crazy guy. Jackass, he's a gnarly superstar. Jackass, I just love that he's just riffing and just coming up with this shit off the top of his head, and everybody's just fucking losing it. Good to see Pontius having some fun on set. Rainbow Cactus Kite is strapped to Cactus Kite. Rainbow Kite is strapped to the back of his back here, and they're basically just going to have him run as fast as he can down a hill, over a ramp, and see if he can clear the cactus. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I need to say much more. You can kind of picture what happens next.
You know what, this for one as badass as it is, and we've talked about it on the show before, Jackass's interactions with cacti that he's had in the past, where he goes into the cactus patch and he gets like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of needles in him, and some have to get surgically removed. He did it with SteveO, and that's when he got the name Jackass. The fact that he goes back to cactuses, man, good on him. Like that's the kind of thing where I'd be traumatized and not want to do it again, but he leans right back into it. I'm just so surprised that there wasn't more of a buildup in this one, given how significant it was. Like he's falling flat on a patch of cacti. And it just kind of happens, you know, they're not, apart from the song, they don't really do anything. And that means that it only ends up being like a minute-long sketch, but I enjoyed it. Good to see him go. It just makes me wonder if maybe it wasn't as hardcore as the natural cactus that you have in the wild. Maybe they got something a little bit less significant because he seemed to be dealing with this way better, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, for me, this is the movie. This is when you got to go as big as you can go. They wasted the better version of the sketch on no offense, but on a SteveO vlog, you know what I mean? On YouTube. So after seeing the first one, it would either have to be bigger or just don't do it. You know what I mean? Because we've all seen a better version of it. And it's like, you know, they could tell everything was planned better. Like the first time, it's like, how the hell are we going to get him out? You know, like every time he moves, he's getting stabbed more. This one, I think number one, were different type of cactuses or cacti that were like less aggressive. The patch was smaller. They had a better exit strategy. So it's like, I'm not taking away from it. I wouldn't want to do it, especially after doing it the first time, but you could tell it was like the other one was a 10 out of 10. This was a 2 out of 10 in terms of like danger and pain and all that stuff. So it's like, just either go bigger or just use the old footage instead. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand why they would just do a shittier version for the movie.
Honestly.
You're so right, Chris. You're so right. And first of all, guys, okay, which universities did you two go to and get the certificate in cactus species or whatever the fuck?
University of Arizona. Sure. That's it's a required course.
Yeah.
Or University of Phoenix. We did it online.
The sketch though, when they do the SteveO blog that we've referenced before on the podcast, where he actually skateboarded off a ramp into the cactus. You're so right though, Chris, because like they have that rope attached to him and they're trying to pull him out, and the whole time you're on edge. Like they totally should have used that. I don't see why they didn't. And cactus species aside, I think that, this was over before it started and you don't really get to see the aftermath. So yeah, it doesn't hit as hard.
The funniest moment about this one, because it's clearly not about the pain. Like the one other thing worth noting is like when they did the one on SteveO's vlog, they found an actual patch of cacti. I don't even want to say the word. I'm going to avoid it.
The cacti.
But in this, they clearly just took a bunch of those plants, and they put them in a mound of like hay and dirt. So they're not attached to the ground. They don't have any like leverage against him falling into them. Still hurts. Like, don't get me wrong, but just not much there. But the funniest part about it was when Zach rolls out of the patch and continues to roll down the hill, he can't stop himself. And even though he's moving so slow, he's such a big guy that he's like knocking people over as he goes in slow motion. It was great.
Yeah. Momentum's just carrying him through.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely didn't notice any of this shit about the cactuses not being planted, but man, you guys, you're quite picky with your cactus variety. But I'll say that here's the real question. If you had to do this, GMO cactus or not, would you even do it in the first place?
No, not a fucking chance. Not a chance.
Yeah.
No way.
I have a cactus plant, and when I was taking it out of the bag, it stabbed me, and I like couldn't get the needle out for like 3 days, and it was absolutely horrendous.
No, thank you. Yeah, man. And if anything, I think it's good to see Jackass getting some screen time, though, because he is a badass. And I really hope that if they're doing a TV show now, that he gets more of a spotlight, because it seems to me like he's taking more of the mantle of the SteveO type of stunts that are very painful. And that's kind of the gimmick. He does it in his own way. I'm not saying he's, trying to copy or freeload off of SteveO, but it is. I want to see more of that. Like, Jackass needs that component, and he's definitely the guy who's going to bring it. So
totally. You guys want to give this one a rating?
Let's do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris, why don't you start us off?
2 out of 10.
I'm right there with you, man. I'm a 2 out of 10 as well. I wanted more, didn't get it, and a little bit disappointed.
The other one would have been a full blown 9.5 out of 10 if it was the original version.
Right.
Man, yeah. I don't hate it. I think it's better than some things I've seen that I've given it to in the past. So I can't quite go that low, but I'm with you guys that it unfortunately could have been handled better, more build up, maybe more, aftermath or just something. I don't know. It's badass to see a guy jump into some cactus, but probably just going to go 3.5. 3.5. That's probably as high as I can go. I don't hate it, but it's just, I think you guys you're onto something there. It just wasn't handled properly.
Yep.
If I never saw the other one, it would have been a much higher score, but you can't give me the top and then pull back, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I'm 100% there with you, Chris. Like, that's the thing, right? Just knowing that exists, it's kind of hard to make that comparison. But yeah, that pretty much takes us to the end of part 2 here. We're just going to put a bit of a damper in it now. We'll leave what's to come as a surprise for next episode next week. But you better believe we're going to finish this thing, and it's going to be coming out every week until we do. So however many parts we need to do to make that happen, we'll find out along the way. But thank you for joining us. Remember,
well, wait, you're missing our MVPs and LVPs, our favorite part of the whole goddamn recording.
I always fucking forget this. Sorry
well,
about
that's part of that's part of it. I'm going to start off MVP of this episode. I think it's got to be Rachel Wolfson, because this is her crowning moment in the movie. And I think that I know she has the scorpion thing later on, but this is her moment. It was one of the most shared screens from the movie, and she handled it like a champ. I'm giving Rachel Wolfson the MVP of this episode.
Nice.
I'm going to go with Poopies again. I believe I used Poopies last week. As much as you say, like, I do love that, and that was an iconic thing. Poopies also was one of the posters from this exact same stunt. True. With the snake. And then aside from that, I think this was the only part that Rachel was involved in, or at least Poopies had the intro and he was doing the slip and slide as well. So I got to give him the credit because he was in a little bit more as well. But it was definitely a fight between the two of them.
Okay.
Yeah, this is tough because we saw a lot of good stuff. And in terms of what am I trying to say? I don't even know. By the way, listener, if you can't tell, I'm pretty fucking sick right now. So I'm at a point
Jay
now.
Jay has COVID right now. We should have said that at the top. Jay has COVID right now.
I can't think straight.
Dedication of this fellow,
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and I'm about to record a podcast with full-blown COVID.
I did it with full-blown face AIDS the other day, so give me some credit too.
True.
I had to show up. Chris fucking did it. He did run off with his tail between his legs to a jungle for a bit, but I'll let that pass because I heard he fought a tiger, tied that guy down, and gave him a real ice.
Yes, he did.
Have you ever heard of tiger tail ice cream?
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Wait, actually, tiger tail ice cream. That's where the name comes from, is it? I'm never having that ever again.
Lift up that tail and just give it a little lick, Oh, that's disgusting. I can't even believe I said that.
So you are the expert of the brown box, after all. So
that's true.
Listen, guys, I think for me on this one, I'm going to go with Wee Man because of that musical chairs segment. And just seeing him fly and take it like a real trooper. You know, he landed on the hydraulics. He comes out. He's still smiling and laughing about it. And I don't think he gets enough credit, you know, so I'm giving it to Wee Man this time.
Nice. LVPs, I've got one. I'm going off the board with this one. It's a combination of the prop supervisor and the safety technician on set for fucking up with the taser and for not covering up those big metal pipes in between the chairs on musical chairs. Someone's got to lose their job over this.
Yeah, otherwise Alec Baldwin might be in the next shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris, who are you going with?
This is an easy one for me, just because it hurt me so much deep inside to see the legend, the OG SteveO lose the fucking game. I need him to fucking, hold the torch for the old guys. I'm getting a little older now, so I'm never rooting for the young guys anymore.
Yeah.
And he lost the fucking game fair and square. And that kind of hurt a little bit. It's, we're getting older these days, and I internalize that in a weird way.
I know. If it worked for the bee-kini, I think I may have given him that as well, but that kind of balanced it out a bit.
Yeah, bee-kini definitely gave him some points. LVP, this one I don't even think technically qualifies because I'm not sure the person I'm about to select is even human, but it's Rob Dyrdek all the way. War Dogs.
New talent. War Dogs. New talent.
Yeah. The thing is, like, it's kind of an ironic LVP because he really got me laughing, but I just can't take that man seriously. And I hope that's how he is to everybody. Like, he's just at the grocery store in the checkout.
He's just labeling everyone in the grocery store, just like, you're a war dog. You're a new
paper
talent.
Or plastic, Rob. Yeah. Paper bags. That guy's nuts. Yeah, I think that takes us to the end. Am I okay to do the real outro now, Mikey?
Take us away, Jay.
Fuck yeah. At Jackast Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Don't miss out. Get on there. Get in on the fun. Give us a little bit of your tiger tail ice cream of your own. Share the love. Yeah. Please don't show us your butthole. I was just trying to sound clever, and I don't want to see your butthole.
Speak for yourself.
I'm pretty sure most of Instagram doesn't either. Okay, well, Chris is on board, but you know where to reach him. He'll be after hours at the Rub and Tug, giving out free
doing the reverse body slide.
Reverse body slide. I had a great time today, boys. I can't wait for next week to do it again, where we will continue with Jackass Forever, part number 3. I'm about to collapse on the table, so I think it's only fitting and appropriate that I now say goodbye and bid you farewell. Okay, bye. I'm Jason Wellwood.
Bye, I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Hi, I'm Mikey Aaronworth, and this has been Jackass.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Get into it.